Subtle skills, big results.
Welcome to the Ninja Selling Podcast.
Hello, ninjas. Welcome back to the Ninja Selling Podcast. Garrett and Matt, as always, are here with you. And today we get to talk about another fun opportunity that at least I know that I'm seeing come back very, very strongly right now. And Garrett, you might be seeing a little bit of this as well. But before we dive in, as we always do, if you guys, because more and more of you have not experienced an installation and maybe have not even read the Ninja Selling book, and we appreciate all of you finding the podcast however you have found us. In fact, we'd love to hear how you found us. So put that on your review or send us a note or join our Facebook community, Ninja Selling, or facebook.com/the-ninja. Oh my goodness, I'm messing this whole thing up.
You're doing great, man. Roll with it.
Facebook.com/groups/the Ninja Selling Podcast. Let us know how you found us. And then getting back to what I was originally saying, if you want to learn more about Ninja, head over to ninjaselling.com. You can get the book from there. You can learn about installations. You can learn about mastery. You can learn about coaching. You can learn about the system. You can learn about the guides, the coaches, the people behind Ninja. It's all there. So just head over to ninjaselling.com to learn more about that stuff. Now, back to the show, Garrett. What do we got today?
I'm going to try not to butcher this because every time I say it, it comes out like I have a lisp.
That's why I pointed it towards you.
Situational relationships.
There it is.
Situational relationships. So yes, Matt, you brought this topic up. You brought it up here just as the doors were being opened and people were running back out into the world.
So that visualization come back again. Yep.
Releasing a bald eagle into the wild. So I think with that, we're getting to get back into hobbies and groups and social networks that meet regularly. And it's really fun to watch these doors start to open back up for people. And I'm watching some people, Matt, that almost don't know how to re-engage with it. They kind of like over this time period lost that like, oh yeah, there are groups out there and there's things that I want to do and things I want to be involved with. And they're starting to figure it out. Like, I'm going to go check that out. It's a great topic, and I'm excited that you brought it up, and I'm curious to see what you're seeing out there right now around this.
Yeah, so we've talked about this before, so many of you probably are familiar with the term, but we have a lot of new listeners. But the big reason why I want to pull this back around too, Garrett, is that a lot of situational relationships got cut off with COVID. Gyms shut down, in-person events shut down. And so a situational relationship, how I look at it is these are relationships you have with people because of that situation or that common interest. You may not have each other's cell phone. You may not have email. So you may not have other forms of communication once that group goes away. It's like, oh, I used to see John at pickleball every Tuesday, and now I don't see John. I wonder what's going on in his world.
And that's interesting because like you take something like COVID in the last 2 years, that stuff got shut off like overnight. Like all of a sudden it was like, oh, like no club? Can't go to the club? Okay, now we're at home. And it never came back online. And just as you said, there's a lot of people in there that you know them, you laugh and you sit around and have great conversations. We have a relationship with them. But the minute that that's taken away, I can't call them. I don't even know how to find them. But it's a great relationship.
It is. So there is the rekindling of that. That I think is one opportunity. But even bigger than that is all these groups are changing now. People are reevaluating, what do I want to get involved in? What am I interested in? Where do I want to go to the gym? A lot of people have changed gyms because either the gym is no longer open or they're like, hey, I want a different experience. I want to try a new workout. This new gym's opened up. And everyone there is also new to those spaces too. So the opportunity to form strong relationships through these situational relationships is higher than it ever has been. Whereas maybe you were trying to like get into a group of people at one point, but there's already 10 realtors in there. That's the common excuse that people give. Oh, but there's already realtors in there. First of all, who cares? Doesn't matter. But in this particular time, maybe there are realtors in there, but everybody's new. So you have an opportunity to get to know people in scale and also find ways to provide value to those people by just learning about them and then showing up and asking questions about them, which is also going to help you more quickly move from a situational relationship with some of these people to they're in your database. You can go grab coffee, you go have beers or whatever it is. And so, Garrett, that's what I'm seeing a lot of right now. And some people taking good advantage of that.
But you just said something that got my attention, which is there's 10 realtors that are part of that, or there's a man that's flooded with realtors. So is it worth my time? And I go back to, we look at like, there's a lot of people out there that are working with buyers, a lot of people that are writing offers that they wish they could get accepted right now. And the number one thing that I'm watching that's making those offers be accepted is realtor to realtor relationships. So I'm going to encourage you to embrace that there are realtors there and not look at it as like, oh, this is an absolute waste of my time, because in big picture, the more realtors that you can meet and make a connection with when you are writing an offer and it's going across the table, hey, if that's the person that you've decided to make friends with at the gym and you've given a little extra time and attention to, like, it might help your buyers be successful in buying that house. So not a negative in any way, shape, or form.
No, in fact, I think it can be a strong asset too right now, Garrett, because this year we're going to see a lot of people who are realtors exit, and maybe not the people who are solidly sure-footed in this business, but people who have kind of like, haven't really established themselves. They're going to be exiting this business. And if you have the relationship with them through these situations, you could potentially get a handful of referrals from them over the next year as well, which that would be huge.
So another gift that came out of this time, and I was just thinking back to a story that Larry had told me about when he went and they lived overseas and moved to China for a while. And I asked him, I said, what are you looking forward to the most of making this trip? And he says, the pattern break is what I'm looking forward to the most. I said, what, you got to give me more information. And his answer is that he was involved with, the number was ridiculous. I want to say 50. It was some crazy number of boards and groups he was involved with because of who Larry is and being involved in the community and involved with helping lots of people on a mass level. And he said, I'm having to quit all those groups to go take this trip. I'm having to give up my position and my spot in all these groups to go live in China for 6 months. And he says, I'm actually looking forward to that the most, because what he was saying is when he comes back, he can be very selective about the groups that he allows back into his world. And I think you can all look at this kind of time in the exact same way. Yeah, you did have a lot of your groups maybe stripped away from you. You did have a lot of these things that you were doing maybe pulled back, but maybe this is going to allow you to be very selective and very, go into it with a lot of purpose of like, what groups do I want to bring back in? What are the ones that really make me be the best that I can be? What are the ones that put me around the best people that are out there? And get really focused with it, because we only have so much time. There's only so much time in the day. And my thing is, if we're going to spend that time, let's spend it doing something we really enjoy with people we really enjoy.
Such a good point that we have a great opportunity to be selective right now. And pairing this with our discussion about life changes on the prior episode, when you get involved in a group where there's common interest, people tend to have a higher comfort level and trust in conversation, which means you'll probably hear more about life changes when you're sharing an experience in the gym or sharing an experience on the sideline of a soccer game, cheering for the same team because your kids are out on the field playing. Those are the opportunities to have really nice forward conversations with people. I'm not talking about an in-depth, sitting across from each other and going deep kind of thing, but casual conversation where something can come up. And if you ask the right question to follow up on that, you can hear a whole lot because people are comfortable with you. Like, yeah, we're buds. We're doing the same thing right now. We're in it together. So I would look for things that maybe you wanted to do that you just haven't done yet. Things that you're interested in that you want to learn. Dance, learn a language, public speaking. Look for groups that are doing those kinds of things and sign up and start to get to know people in those ways. You can massively change your database in a good way.
Commonalities and like interests is so overlooked in the process. So a lot of people get into these groups going like, oh, I just need to be more involved. I want to go and join this group because it's going to put me around more people. But when you're really selective, just as you were saying, Matt, there's a trust level that comes up. Everybody knows who's listened to the podcast for a while that I've got like an old truck. I've got an old 1970 Blazer. I've had the thing since I was 16 years old. It's just a part of my world. I can see somebody driving down the road who owns a 1969 or 68 to 69 to 71 Blazer. Guess what? We're instantly friends. We happen to be at the gas station. Guess who's coming over and talking about cars? And there's some side of me that goes like, this guy's an okay guy. I don't even know who he is, I know nothing about him. He could be a criminal.
Most people who drive Blazers, yeah, I mean,
This guy drives a Blazer. He's got to be a good guy. You brought up pickleball. I've got my friend Ian Schwartz in Chicago. He is a big pickleball, but more so paddleball crazy guy. Like, and Ian's awesome, tons of energy. So when I say crazy guy, I have a picture of Ian in my mind that fits perfectly. But Ian plays like massive amounts of paddle. And the groups and the people that he associates with there's an instant level of camaraderie. There's an instant level of trust. That relationship is built very comfortably right up front. He could go to a different town and instantly go join a paddle group there. And guess what? He's got friends. There are people instantly that are like, this guy's okay. I understand who he is. And they really don't. They just know that they have a same common like interest. This is why churches can work really well. Same commonality like interests. Any type of board you can go help on. We talk about kids a lot too, Matt. And I feel like there's a lot of people out there that go like, man, if I just had a kid, because like kids open you up to the world. Like there's all these opportunities.
they do.
They do, but there are so many things you can do if you let that go away, that like that's the only way I can do this. Like there's so many ways you can get involved out there in your community. Mountain biking clubs, like active clubs, rock climbing clubs.
And it doesn't even have to be a club. It could just be recurring events. It's funny you mentioned the Blazer, because if I was actively listing and selling right now, I would have not sold that Bronco that I talked about on a prior episode, because whenever I took that thing out, one, everybody looked at it because people are interested in these. It's novel. But even when that novelty goes away, the waves from other Bronco owners, the conversations from the few people in my neighborhood who already owned them, because they would just stop. Don't talk to them that much, but when they saw that I was in the driveway, we had conversations. So there is that. You don't have to go buy a car to build your situational relationships,
Yeah, you do. No, you do. You definitely do.
but you could find an event that you like to go to. Could be Cars and Coffee every weekend, right? Every Sunday, go into, or Saturday or whenever it is in your town, go to Cars and Coffee and just chat with people about cars. So you're not even joining a club or signing a gym membership. You're just literally showing up to a location on a day and time, and there's going to be recurring people that go through that. Same thing with different events that are held in different towns. Like in Charleston, we have Second Sunday, where they close the street on King Street and all the shops are open. Like if you made an active presence there, you'd get to know the shop owners very well. There's just so many different things that you can do for free that can create these wonderful situational relationships as well. And it's just scheduling the time to do it. And the beauty of it is you have a start and end time to a lot of these things. So it doesn't tax your schedule, particularly when these are things that you want to do anyway. And Ian Schwartz is choosing some good things because it's good for his health too. You get active and you have good conversations with people. What could be better? I can't picture anything better than that.
Well, again, he's not the only one that I've watched do that. I want to go back to the cars for a second, because I do think people need to go buy a car to experience this. But you can do it much cheaper. I just experienced it when I was in Hawaii. And while we were in Hawaii, we did what every tourist does: is you rent a Jeep.
Which is inferior to a Bronco.
I don't know. We'll see. The jury's still out. But what's really interesting is that while we were driving around the island, we did the whole trip around Oahu. And while we were going around it, my daughter said, "Do you realize that all the Jeeps that are passing us wave at us?" And I said, "Yeah." And it was funny. It just caught my attention too. And the moment I was aware of it, all of a sudden, every Jeep that passed us waved. And all of a sudden I got into it also, where it's like, I got excited about seeing another Jeep come down the road, because it's like, like, hey, how's it going? Like when we passed each other. If you want to experience this yourself, there's a great car place called Turo, and you can go get a Jeep just for a day, go drive it around. But this is a great example. You'll see how just sometimes having that little commonality and like interest with other people breaks down their guards. And all of a sudden you have people that with their energy will interact with each other. And that's really all you want to see there. Is it's an opportunity for energy to work with one another. That person driving down the road could have easily just passed by me if I was in my car, in the Jeep. They were in their Jeep and I was just a normal car. They would have just rolled right past me. Our energies would have never intersected. We would have never connected. But all of a sudden, just having that little commonality, and all of a sudden our energies are allowed to work with each other. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking back, I was having this conversation with Jen the other day, thinking back to when I bought a new car when I was in real estate up in New Jersey, I was like, I bought the wrong car. If I could go back and do it again, I would have gotten the car that I wanted to get, which may have been a little bit more of a hassle to maintain, but it definitely would have been a thing that could create bonds. Not necessarily, it's not like it was anything special, but there was community around that type of car. And if that's what you're into, man, another funny story about that, not a funny story, just a good story, is I know an agent actually in Houston. She is a car person. Her and her husband are big car people, have been for a long time. A few years ago, she decided to get into real estate, and now she's helping people who drive high performance cars buy and sell homes because that's her network. They get together and talk about cars and garages and drive cool cars when they go show properties. So it's all part of her thing, which is amazing. And so these are the things, situational relationships can grow into some really cool branding things for yourself. And it can just help you have a lot of fun. I'm not saying it's got to be cars. I mean, Gary, you and I have a particular affinity for cars.
Doesn't have to be cars, but I think if somebody wants to experience what that commonality can look like, cars are a great way that, we all deal with cars every single day. And it's a weird way that those relationships, all of a sudden, the walls are broken down a little bit. The barriers come down based off of something that you're like, oh, you like that too? And it's like, boom, easy to kind of all of a sudden build a stronger relationship around those people. So
no doubt.
I love this topic. I love that you brought this up as something to kick around. I think it's a brilliant time right now as we are being released out of our cages into the world. I'm going to continue to say it that way.
It makes me laugh every time.
And again, the visual in my mind is just wonderful.
Well, I appreciate you exploring it, Garrett. I'm a big fan of situational. See, now I loved it.
I got it. I can do it. Do you want me to do it? Situational. I lost it.
I put you on the spot in the beginning, and then this is what I get for it. It's karma coming back around. I'm a big fan of situational relationships. I think we don't often see the opportunities in there, but I'm seeing big opportunities in there right now. So for those of you who are in them, ask more questions, listen for those life changes, build your warm list off of them because it's going to be awesome.
Everybody who tuned in, as always, thank you so much. We appreciate you tons. Matt spoke about all the communities and everything up front, but if you want to go check them out, please do. The podcast community on Facebook is sitting right around, by the time this airs, it'll be about probably 76 to 7,700 people in there. An amazing amount of like-minded people. And that's what I want you to be thinking about when you're in that group. Some of them have gone through installations. Some of them have read the book. Some of them have just tuned in and listened to what you listen to, every couple of days. They're like-minded people that are in that group in there, just sometimes getting into Ninja also. So very fun group. So I appreciate everybody. Matt, anything else?
I don't think so. Just have a wonderful, amazing day.
Everybody have a great day, great week, and we will be back soon. Thank you. If you enjoyed today's episode and would like more, visit us at theninjasellingpodcast.com.
There you will also find links for more information about ninja selling and coaching. Have an incredible day.